Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing my monthly favorites for the month of March. Now I know with everything going on in the world right now, talking about favorite makeup products from the month of March seems a little bit frivolous, but I love these videos so much. I love filming them, I love watching them, I love talking about the things that I'm loving and hearing what you guys are loving. And as trivial as it may seem, I think now more than ever is a great time to talk about makeup products that we are loving to kind of distract ourselves from all the uncertainty and worry and fear that we are feeling right now. So I hope you guys are excited about this one. I've got a lot of old favorites in here, a couple repeat items in here, and I even have a couple of undiscovered things or newly discovered things that were kind of hiding out in my collection to share with you guys. Before we get into it, welcome to those of you that are newer to my channel. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and of course, if you do, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button before you leave, and if you want to be notified, you can hit that notification bell as well. And with that said, let's jump right into the products I have been loving throughout the last month. So I want to start off with a couple of repeat items. First off, the Misha BB Cream. I have been reaching for this for really a long time. This has kind of become my staple foundation, if you will, just for every day, especially when I know I'm going to be out and about, which is kind of ironic that I'm mentioning that right now because I have not been out and about much at all over at least the last 2 weeks. But before that, it was the beginning of baseball season. I was outside a little bit every single day, and I was anticipating that this was going to be like a necessity for me. Great coverage, really high SPF, which is the reason that I love it so much, especially in the spring and as we're moving into summer. The value is fantastic. It's just a great all-around product that I love using. I've mentioned this before, but I do use two shades to mix together. I have shade 21 and 27. 21 is too light, 27 is too dark. I have just ordered shade 23, and I'm hoping that will be a good match for me, but I am totally fine mixing them together if I need to. They're super easy to apply with a sponge or a brush or even my fingers. And more than anything, I just love the idea that there's the extra SPF inside here, which I anticipate when this quarantine ends and I'm spending more time outside, I'll definitely need that and love that and use that. I do want to mention one more time, this is a highly scented product, so if you are very sensitive to fragrance, it is quite strong. I've heard from some of you that it did break you out or you had issues with that, so just keep that in mind, but I absolutely love this. This is kind of my like no thought reach for when it comes to foundation lately. Next item, which I have mentioned so many times, I know it's been in a favorites video before, I think it was in my year-end favorites video, I talk about it all the time, but it's this mascara from Tony Moly. The more I use this, the more I just don't even want to use my other mascaras. I absolutely love this stuff. It is super affordable. You can get this for like $4 or less. I got this on YesStyle, but I actually haven't seen that on there for a while. So I did place an order a couple of weeks ago from Stylevana. I don't know if you guys have heard of that website. I had never heard of it before, but I did find this mascara on there and it was like $3, which is crazy affordable. So I ordered 2 of the green tube, 1 of the pink tube, because I just don't want to be without this stuff. It's just one of my favorites. It does everything that I want a good mascara to do, and it lasts and wears really well on me as well. You guys know how much I love a good affordable makeup find, and this is like the ultimate affordable makeup find, because who makes a good mascara for $3 or $4? Nobody. Essence is the next closest one. I do love Essence mascaras as well, but I like this one better. It wears better for me. It gives me a little bit more dramatic and intense lashes, but it's nice and separating, it's lengthening, it lifts my lashes really well. I can't say enough good things about this. And I'm always hesitant to mention it because I have a feeling there's a lot of people that wouldn't like this because it can at times get fibers in your eyes, which is certainly not comfortable. And if you have contacts, I would imagine that would be kind of a big issue. But for me, it's worth the risk because most of the time that doesn't happen for me, and I love this stuff. I love it. Next, I want to go through a couple of lip products. First off, these right here. These are from Wet n Wild. I now have 4 shades of these. I don't love all shades equally, and I think a lot of the shades are very similar to each other. We'll go ahead and swatch them together. I may have mentioned these in last month's favorites video as well, but I am still absolutely loving these. Between these and the next product that I will mention, that's pretty much all that has been on my lips over the course of the last month. I am not wearing them today. In fact, I'm not wearing anything that I'm talking about today except for the setting powder because I did just film a trying new makeup video. But I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these ones for you. Probably my 2 favorite shades are Mad for Mauve and Close Off. So here is Mad for Mauve. This is the first one that I ever picked up. The formula of these is just so nice. I've heard so many of you say that you love these as well. It's a really nice, just kind of nude, soft pink. This is the color Close Off, which has a little bit more of like a peach shift to it. It still does have some pink in it, but it has a little bit more warmth to it. As you can see, they look quite similar, but this one is a little bit warmer. I actually do wish this one had a little bit more of a warm kind of peach undertone to it than a pinky peach undertone to it because I just feel like on the lips these two look quite similar to each other, but I do love them both. Probably my third favorite is this one right here, which is the color Rosé and Stay. This one is a little bit darker, not significantly, and it is a little bit more of like a true pink. But it is so pretty, such a good springtime color. And if you can find these in store, I want to say they're around like $2. I think they're like $1.98, which is just mind-blowing to me. I mean, what a bargain. And then this one right here is the color Pinky Ring. This one is very, very pink, almost like a sheer Barbie pink, but if you use this one in the right way, it actually is really, really beautiful, especially if you're doing a more cool-toned look. I love a good cool-toned eye with a pink cheek and a pink lip, and this makes a really nice pink lip, especially if you pair it with like a nude lip liner and just go really light with this. You're not going to get that much intensity. It kind of can sheer out a little bit and just be more of like a gloss because the formula is very pigmented, but it's also somewhat sheer and gloss-like at the same time. If you love a creamy, shiny lipstick, I think you'll really, really enjoy these, and I think they're gorgeous. Let me know if you guys have tried any of the deep shades. I haven't tried them yet because typically if I'm going for a deep color, I want something that's going to stay in place that's more of like a liquid lipstick. But let me know if you guys have tried them, how they worked out for you, because I'm kind of curious to try some of the darker shades out as well. The next lip product that I have been loving is the Persona lip gloss. This one is in the shade Pink. I love the Persona lip gloss. I've talked about it quite a few times in favorites videos and my year-end favorites. My most used shade is the shade Honey. That's the one I talk about the most, but for springtime, I love a good neutral pink gloss. This is so beautiful. If you like a nice gloss that you can throw in your purse that you don't need to pair with a lip liner or a lipstick underneath, this one has plenty of color, but it gives a good amount of shine. It's not sticky at all. You can see this pink color right here is a little bit more of like it actually kind of matches this color right here. It's much more of a warm pink, which I love because it goes with absolutely everything. It goes with any complexion products, any eye look, any outfit that you're wearing. You just can't go wrong with this gloss, and I love Persona's gloss formula. It is one of my favorites. Next, let's talk about a setting powder, which is shocking because you guys might know I am not a big powder person. I don't typically like to set my face down with powder very much, and I'm very strategic in how I do that. And for that reason, I don't often try a lot of powders out because 9 times out of 10, I just find them to be a little bit too drying for me, and I don't use them enough to feel like it's a product that I really need to try out very often. But I've been testing out the Halo powder from e.l.f. and really enjoying this stuff. Now, I still use this very strategically. I only use it to really set down the center of my forehead, sometimes my eyelids, maybe very lightly under my eyes, and then my cheek area to prepare for bronzer. It sets things down, but it doesn't mattify everything. There's just enough of a very subtle sheen in this that it doesn't necessarily look like you're wearing powder. Now the sheen on this is so subtle that I didn't notice it for the first little while until I went back to using like my RCMA powder or my Rimmel Stay Matte powder, which I do still use those at times. Those powders are truly mattifying powders, so if I go overboard with them or get them in places that maybe I don't want to mattify, I notice that they've mattified down. For example, if I'm putting powder on this area right here before I go in with a bronzer, which I do like to do because I think it makes my bronzer blend a lot more easily. If I get that powder up too high, it takes away some of that natural shine that I always want to try and keep in this area right here because number one, it's a natural highlight. Number two, it makes my highlighter look better on my cheeks. But if my powder gets up too high, it takes that shine completely away and mattifies it. But this powder does not do that. It sets things down, but it maintains that almost natural, very, very subtle looking glow. It is by no means a highlighter. It's very, very subtle, the effect, but it's something that I noticed once I went back to my other powders. For that reason, I prefer this powder over my other ones. I have mine in the shade Light, which seems to be a really good shade match for me. And yeah, I've just been really impressed with this stuff, which is crazy because I am not someone that is into their powders, but it makes me wonder, maybe that's a category I should start trying out. But, you know, we gotta delegate our funds, and they typically get delegated to eyeshadow palettes. Speaking of eyeshadow palettes, the palette that I have just been absolutely loving recently is the Double Entendre palette. I've talked about this one in a couple of videos recently, but it is a stunning palette. If you just want a very simple brown eye look, this is going to be your guy. It is very warm toned, so if you're not into your warm browns, you're not going to like this one, but if you like warm, rich brown, bronzy eye look, This is just a perfectly curated one. Gives you everything that you need. You get some really good transition shade options in here. You get some good highlighting options in here. It has a perfect champagne, beautiful dark brown, and even like a red tone brown, which I think is really fun. So a very simple palette, but an absolutely beautiful one. So last up, I have two highlighters I wanted to mention for you guys. First off, this one right here. This one was sent to me by Persona Cosmetics back in the fall. This is in the shade Zuma. Now, throughout the winter time, I felt like this shade was just a hair too deep for my skin tone, but when my skin starts to get the most subtle bit of a tan, this is such a beautiful golden highlight. It is very, very gold toned, but it's not like a dark gold. It's a beautiful champagne gold, but it looks so pretty on your cheeks. I would say if you have extremely fair skin, this might be a little bit too dark for you because it does have a pretty strong gold base to it. But the few times I've worn this highlighter, my husband has commented on my highlighter, and I've said this before, but he doesn't often comment on my makeup. So the times that he does, I really pay attention, but he told me I look like a golden goddess. And my husband doesn't say things like that. So that really caught my attention. And he was totally right. This is just a beautiful golden highlight. In the summertime, you had better believe this is going to be probably my most reach for highlight because the gold undertone to it is just so pretty with a beautiful bronzed cheek. I absolutely love it. But lastly, I have a highlighter that is actually inside of an eyeshadow palette. This is the Desert Oasis palette by BH Cosmetics. I love this palette, but I especially love this highlighter right here. I have talked about this, I think, in a recent video. It is a more intense and glittery highlight, but oh my goodness, do you guys see that right there? It is very, very reflective and bold. Those actually look quite similar to each other. Can you guys see the differences in those two swatches? So here's the Persona one, here is the BH Cosmetics one. I think the BH Cosmetics one is just a little bit more reflective. It would emphasize texture a little bit more because it does have some glitter inside there, whereas the Persona one's a little bit more smooth and less chunky. But this is just so reflective on the cheeks. I absolutely love it. And let me tell you guys how I discovered my love for this thing. Please do not laugh at me. So I work out down here in my basement most mornings, just kind of right behind where my filming area is and all my makeup is. So oftentimes when I come down here all alone in the quiet of the morning, kids are not awake, and I'm stalling a little bit because I'm not quite ready to work out yet, I will sit down at my makeup area to clean up, but usually I just end up playing with makeup. And I have been putting this highlighter on before I work out, and I have to say, it makes me enjoy my working out so much more when I have a little bit of highlight on. I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit that, but truly, if you guys hate working out, try putting some highlighter on first. You might enjoy it a little bit more. I really do think it makes it just a little bit funner when you have highlighter on. Go ahead and laugh. I am okay with it. I know that's kind of weird and quirky, but you have to admit, if you're a makeup lover, wouldn't playing with makeup be way more appealing than doing a workout at 5:30 in the morning? So yeah, this is my morning dose of highlight every day, and then I wash it off, and if I put makeup back on, I usually will dip back into this thing again. Oh, Mandy, you weirdo. So if you like an intense highlight, maybe if you have this palette and you love it just for the eyeshadows, if you haven't tested out the highlighters, they're really, really gorgeous. They actually do remind me a little bit of the Becca highlighting formula. I'd say they're maybe a little bit more intense and a little bit more texture emphasizing because they do have some glitter in them, but they are so pretty. All right, you guys, and with that, that is it for my favorite makeup products for today. So I do have one more non-beauty thing to mention for you guys. This is not beauty related. I've never really done something like this on my channel before, but in light of what a lot of us are experiencing right now, I think it's very applicable, and it has definitely been a huge favorite of mine this entire month, especially the last couple of weeks since we've been quarantined and feeling isolated and feeling a lot of fear and anxiety. And it's actually a podcast. So my sisters and I started this weekly podcast chat where we listen to a podcast and chat about it. Most of the time we end up canceling because we just can't get our schedules to work out together, but we do talk about them a lot together. And one of the ones that we've been listening to is from Brooke Castillo. I will link her name and her podcast down below. Her podcast is called The Life Coach School. If you are someone that struggles with anxiety, if you are just feeling very overwhelmed and full of anxiety and fear and uncertainty right now, I highly recommend listening to her podcast. She's been doing a series on handling uncertainty and chaos revolving around the pandemic that we're going through, but she doesn't really talk necessarily about the pandemic. She talks about how to handle it inside of your mind and how to handle your thoughts. It is so inspiring and super helpful because I've been feeling a lot of anxiety as well. I know a lot of us have dealt with anxiety. There are so many people out there that deal with chronic anxiety. I've dealt with it myself in the past, but even on a daily basis, I struggle not with an anxiety disorder per se. I've I've had a lot of experience with chronic anxiety disorders in the past, but I deal with anxiety just in everyday life. I think most of us do. And if you sometimes struggle to feel overwhelmed with that anxiety, listen to her podcast. She really is good about coaching you through how to take back control of your thoughts and your mind. I highly recommend it. It is so amazing. Me and my sisters all love it. Every time I get together with my older sister, she's the one that showed me this podcast, but we chat about it for hours because there's just so many good things that she says. So I will link it down below if you think something like that would be helpful, but it has definitely been one of my favorite things this last month, especially in the last 2 weeks. All right, guys, and with that, that is it for my favorite products from the month of March. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was relaxing and fun for you guys to sit down and just talk about some really awesome makeup. I would love to hear from you guys. What makeup products have you guys really been loving? What has been seeing you through the last couple of weeks? Like, what has been your favorite distraction? Please let me know in the comments down below. I hope that you guys are hanging in there and doing well. I want to give one more reminder. Keep the video ideas and suggestions coming. I am writing them down, compiling a list. April, again, is going to be a full month of your video ideas suggestions, which I am super excited about. I'm actually going to work on filming my little intro ditty tomorrow. It's going to be such a fun month. I can't wait to have you guys on board. So again, keep those video suggestions coming. Thank you guys again for stopping by today. Have a good one. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet done that. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye. By the way, someone told me recently I had fake teeth. I don't know how to take that. Thank you? That sounds like a bad thing. They're not dentures. They're real. My dad is a dentist though, so I was fortunate growing up. I had free braces, free whitening kits. Although I am actually getting a crooked tooth right here. Wear your retainers, kids. Even when you're 30 years old, wear your retainers. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and of course, if you do, like I'm from New York. With a terrible New York accent. I apologize to all you New Yorkers out there. They are running races around the kitchen island upstairs. I can hear it. I've just got to let it happen. They need to release their energy somehow, and I'm not about to go up there and stop them because, you know, when you're inside all day, sometimes you just got to run around the kitchen island, right? But I especially... Oh, good heavens, Mandy. So clumsy.